The rain had been falling for hours when I noticed her standing at the edge of my porch. She wasn't knocking, she wasn't calling for help. She was just standing there, soaked to the bone, clutching a small backpack as if it contained the last pieces of her life. The storm raged across the quiet countryside, outside Nashville, Tennessee, and every few seconds, lightning illuminated her frightened face. For a moment, I thought she would turn around and disappear into the darkness. Then she looked up, and I saw something in her eyes that stopped me cold, not fear, not sadness, but complete exhaustion, the kind that comes from carrying too much pain for too long. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that one small act of kindness can change a life forever. My name is Matthew Carter, and at the time, I was 42 years old. I lived alone on a small farm outside the city. Life had not turned out the way I once imagined. After losing my wife, Hannah, to an illness several years earlier, I had buried myself in work. The farm kept me busy, but it couldn't fill the emptiness that echoed through the old house every night. Most days followed the same routine. Feed the animals, fix fences, work until exhaustion replaced loneliness. That stormy evening was supposed to be no different. When I opened the front door, the young woman looked startled. She couldn't have been older than 24. Her dark hair clung to her face, and her hands trembled from the cold. I asked if she was all right. She hesitated so long that I thought she might not answer. Then, I asked a simple question. I asked if she needed a room. The words seemed ordinary at first, but what she said next changed everything. She lowered her eyes and whispered that she didn't need a room. She needed a reason to believe people were still good. Those words hit me harder than the thunder rolling across the sky. I invited her inside, gave her a dry blanket, and made a pot of coffee. For a while, she sat quietly at the kitchen table, staring at the steam rising from the cup. Eventually, she told me her name was Abigail. She had traveled hundreds of miles across several states. She wasn't running from danger. She was running from disappointment. Over the previous 2 years, Abigail had lost almost everything she trusted. Her father had passed away unexpectedly. Medical bills consumed the family's savings. Friends she believed would stand beside her slowly disappeared when life became difficult. She worked multiple jobs trying to stay afloat, but every setback seemed larger than the last. Eventually, she found herself drifting from town to town, taking temporary work wherever she could find it. What hurt her most wasn't losing money or stability. It was losing faith in people. As she spoke, I saw pieces of myself in her story. Different circumstances, same loneliness. Different wounds, same feeling of being forgotten. The next morning, the rain finally stopped. The sky cleared, revealing endless blue over the rolling Tennessee hills. Abigail planned to leave immediately, but something made me offer her temporary work around the farm. Nothing complicated. Feeding chickens, organizing supplies, helping with bookkeeping. To my surprise, she accepted. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Slowly, the old farmhouse changed. Laughter returned to rooms that had been silent for years. The dining table was no longer used by one person. Sunday mornings included church again. Even the neighbors noticed a difference. They said the farm seemed alive in a way they hadn't seen since Hannah's passing. Yet the greatest transformation wasn't happening around us. It was happening inside us. Abigail began believing in herself again. She enrolled in online classes she had abandoned years earlier. She started planning for a future instead of merely surviving each day. Meanwhile, I discovered something I thought I had lost forever: the ability to hope. One autumn afternoon, nearly a year after that stormy night, Abigail received news she never expected. A nonprofit organization had reviewed her application and awarded her a scholarship to complete her education. It was the opportunity she had dreamed about for years. I was happy for her, but I was also afraid, because accepting the scholarship meant leaving. The morning she packed her bags felt strangely similar to the night she arrived, only this time there was sunshine instead of rain. As she loaded the last box into her car, I wondered whether helping her had simply been a brief chapter in both our lives. Then Abigail handed me an envelope. Inside was a letter. She wrote that when she arrived at my porch, she wasn't searching for shelter. She was searching for proof that kindness still existed. She said that one simple question had restored something she thought was gone forever. Not because it solved all her problems, but because it reminded her that compassion still lived in the world. At the bottom of the letter, she had written a sentence. I'll never forget. Sometimes a room isn't a place to sleep. Sometimes it's a place where a broken heart can heal. Years have passed since then. Abigail graduated, built a successful career, and now helps families facing the same hardships she once endured. We still speak regularly. She's become part of my family, and I am proud of the life she created. Before we reach the end, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment telling us about a moment when someone showed you unexpected kindness. Your story may encourage someone reading through the comments today. And if this story touched your heart, please support the video with a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more uplifting stories. You never know whose life might change because of a simple message of hope. Looking back, I often think about that stormy evening. I thought I was offering a stranger a room for the night. In reality, God was giving both of us something far greater. She found proof that goodness still exists, and I found a reminder that healing often arrives disguised as an opportunity to help someone else. Sometimes, the smallest question can create the biggest miracle, and sometimes, the person you rescue ends up rescuing you right back.